What's up, YouTube? Have you ever wondered about the paint mixer brush in Affinity Photo on the iPad? Well, that's what we're here to talk about today. Welcome back, my name is Ben Nielsen, and today in our series about each tool inside of Affinity Photo on the iPad, we're talking about the paint mixer brush. This is a tool that I'm not sure a lot of people know about. It's certainly not one that I use a lot, so you might be a little bit confused about why it's there and what it does. So let's go ahead and dive in and see what this does in Affinity Photo on the iPad. Alright, so the paint mixer brush is once again going to be found down on the 7th tool, and it's just going to be a sub-tool to the paintbrush tool. So go ahead and tap on the paintbrush tool and then tap on it again to bring up the sub-tool menu and just click the paint mixer brush tool. The point of this tool is basically to let you push colors together and mix them on screen. And this is not a tool that I really have ever used before because it isn't one that I've had a real use for, but I think it is probably really useful to those who are trying to really do some digital artwork here in Affinity Photo. I think the reason I probably have not used it is because I do most of my digital artwork on the iPad in Procreate, just because I find that to be a better tool for that kind of thing. But Affinity Photo has a lot of powerful tools in that direction as well. So it's important to understand that this is a brush tool, just like the other ones that we've looked at. And so it has all of the brush tool settings in this first contextual menu. But we're not going to really worry about those because we've gone over all of them. Where we're interested in is actually this second contextual menu here, where there are 3 options. And I'm just going to show you kind of how this works at first. I'm going to pick a color here from my swatches, and I'm just going to pick something that will show up easily, like magenta. So when I paint with this brush, it's going to paint magenta. And you can see it's just coming down there just like a regular brush. Now this option here that says auto load means that it's going to keep pulling paint into this brush. Now if I turn off auto load and then I go ahead and clean my brush, then when I paint, there's not going to be anything there. So you can't see, but I'm actually painting with the pencil right now and nothing is happening because there's no paint on the brush. Now I can do a manual load by clicking the load brush, and you can see that doesn't stay on, it just goes really quick. And so with that loaded, I can paint a little bit, but if I clean my brush, I'm not going to be able to paint again. But if I keep auto load on, I can paint and paint and paint. Now, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense right now because we only have one color. So let's go ahead and grab another color and we'll see what happens. I'm going to grab bright green so we can easily see this. Then when we go ahead and paint, watch. You can actually see it mixing together. As I go here, I'm just pushing these together. Now, if I turn off auto load and I come through here, I'm actually going to pick up the pink and I'm going to use this pinkish darkish color to actually do the paint now. And if I clean the brush, there's nothing there again. And then if I load the brush, I'm going to get the green again. And then when I come over here, I'm going to mix them together. So, and if I come through here, I can drag the green down into here, mix together a little color, and do that. Okay, so let's take a look at what this would look like with 2 colors that can easily be mixed into another color. So let's try to just do red and yellow to get orange. So I'm going to paint with some red here. I'm going to make sure that I load my brush, and I'm going to paint red. Then I'm going to switch my color to yellow, and I'm going to load the brush again, and I'm going to paint yellow here. So I have these 2 colors here together, and then if I come over here and I swirl them together, I am going to be able to get an orange. And I can get different variations of orange depending on how much red and how much yellow I mix together. And then that's what's loaded in my brush now, is that orange color. So you can see this works a lot like a physical medium in a lot of ways. And so you've got these 3 options depending on what you're trying to do: load brush, auto load brush, or clean brush. Now if I go to the 3rd menu, you're going to see that this is just the symmetry controls that we've seen before. So it's going to work very similar to symmetry controls in other things, except that when we turn on symmetry, it's going to do the mixing wherever it is in each panel. So let's go ahead and change this to 2. And then when I mix over here, if I try and mix my green and my orange together, you can see it's mixing these colors wherever it happens on the page, but it's using the same loaded color, the same color that I had. So that just creates a really interesting effect as you go along there. It can really make a lot of variance in what happens with the symmetry, even though it's still working according to the same principles that it was before. So like I said, not something that I've used a lot, but it's a pretty cool tool if you're wanting to kind of reproduce your physical medium in Affinity Photo. And of course, you can change the brush. So there's a bunch of different brush options within the brush studio, and you can change the brush to have different effects. So if you do something with more of a texture, you're going to get a different result as you mix them together than you would if you're just using a round brush like we were for those first examples. One other thing that I should mention here is just that this also works on photos. So if we go ahead and we just put a photo in here by going to place, we can go ahead and drag that out, switch back to our paint mixer brush. I'm going to turn off symmetry so that we can see this easier. And I'm going to turn off auto load and clean my brush. So let me switch back to the round brush just because that will be a little bit easier. And when we paint through here, you can see that it will actually blend all of the colors that are here on the photo. Now, that doesn't seem very useful in this particular instance, but you could use it to do something. So you could write like a word there, kind of by blending all of the colors together. Anyways, it can create some interesting effects for sure on your photos if you're interested in doing something like that. And that's basically everything that I know about the paint mixer brush, but I would love to hear from you. If you found ways that you like to use this in Affinity Photo, go ahead and drop in the comments. Let me know how you go about using the paint mixer brush. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed learning more about the paint mixer brush in Affinity Photo on the iPad. If you did, remember to give this video a big thumbs up. And if you're really enjoying this series, remember you can always go ahead and hit that thanks button. If you have any questions, make sure that you drop those in the comments. And don't forget, I've got a lot of courses over on Skillshare that you can use to learn more about Affinity Photo on the iPad. We'll chat in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.